Okay, so we are here at our Kerbal Space Center. Okay, since we're in sandbox mode, right here the research development, admin, and mission control don't do anything for us. Here's the spaceplane hangar and the runway.
So I don't really play this game. Like,
Yes.
I don't think I've ever played this game, actually. I've watched you play,
Okay.
but I don't think I've ever played, so this is going to be fun.
Okay.
This is going to be good.
So, first in this world, let's go to our tracking station. You can see all the different flights we currently have running.
So, in this game, do you, like...
So, let me
Is
just...
it kind of like you orbit, like, the Earth or the Moon? Or can you go to other planets? Or, like, what do you do?
You can go to other planets.
That's cool.
I'll show you in a second.
Are they realistic like ours? Or are they kind of like Star Trek kind of
Kerbin
stuff?
right here is... What the hell? Oh, you're that. Basically, Kerbin right here is, I believe, 1/10 the size of Earth.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, there's the moon. Okay.
Yeah. So, right now you can see we have our ScanSat, which goes around and gives us this map of the planet, which is a mod.
Oh,
We have
okay.
a lot of mods installed.
Oh, okay.
And then we also have a mod that, for remote vehicles like satellites, they need a comm link, and comm links are direct line of sight, which means that here's mission control. If we really zoom in, you can so you see that's the little peninsula that the space center's at.
Okay.
And this is sending our line to this ComSat. Then this ComSat is relaying it to all the other ComSats,
Okay,
which
cool.
could then relay it to anywhere.
So is this kind of like... Is it kind of inspired by our universe and our galaxy? Kind of as
Yes.
in like the Milky Way where we are now kind of stuff?
I don't know, there's not too much story. But yeah, it's inspired by it.
Okay.
I mean, Kerbin here has its moon, the Mun, which is the easiest thing to get to because it's so close. We have Minimus, which is smaller, but much further out, and always a bit more of a harder achievement.
Oh, okay.
If we start really zooming out... Oh, a little bit of lag. Okay. You can
Oh,
start to
wow,
see the
okay.
orbit of Kerbin around the sun.
Okay.
These are unknown objects, most presumably comets.
Oh, okay.
So you can go on to the asteroids for mining and such.
Oh, okay, cool.
You zoom out more. Here's the solar system. If we go focus on the
Cool.
sun, we have Moho, which is the closest to the sun. We have Eve. We have Kerbin, so third planet. This, I believe, would be the representative of Mars.
Venus.
Mercury,
Venus, Earth, Mars.
Right, Duna's Mars.
Saturn, or Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so that's cool.
Yeah, we have that, and then... Basically, Jules a gas giant.
Okay, so that'd be Saturn.
Yeah.
Or
So
Jupiter.
if we go back to Kerbin...
Or both. Why
So
not?
the question is, what... Since you're here, I'm gonna have you...
What, you're gonna have me do it?
Well, I'll build, but based off your suggestions.
Okay.
Going to another planet would be hard, especially for your first thing. I'd recommend we just go to the
Let's
Mun.
just go to the moon.
Okay. Now, do you just want to orbit the moon? Do you want to land on
Let's
the
freaking
moon?
moon. Or land
Do you want to
on
build
it,
a
bro.
base on the moon? Or do you
No,
just
let's
want to hit
land on it. Let's go all Neil Armstrong on him. And...
land and come back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did I ever tell you about my astronomy teacher?
No.
Alright, so it's kind of funny. He, so the first day, because I'm doing online school, and he is, like, talking to us and stuff, and I was, like, just thinking, okay, he's an astronomy teacher, you know, he probably went to university, got some kind of degree, and has been teaching it for a couple years. Well, he's telling us these stories, and he's like, yeah, so I first started out, as a physicist, and, he was oh crap, there was a technical term, but it was basically one of those, the astronomers that work on the satellites. I can't remember the term he used, but basically one of those, and he said he worked for NASA, and he's the one that built and put the satellites up in orbit so we can spy on other nations. And I was like, oh, okay. So he's like, so I was kind of like, okay, so he's like some kind of a spy. That's cool. And he was like, and I asked him, I was like, can you tell us any of the stuff? And he's like, no, I'm not really allowed to say anything because most of the stuff that I put up is still being used. And I'm like, oh, all right, that is cool.
Okay, so here we are in the vehicle assembly building, and we need to build our lander first.
All right.
So we need a cockpit, and we need to decide how we want to do it.
I want a pointy one.
Pointy one? Well,
Yeah.
this is the lander.
Oh.
So this hits
So
the moon.
you want something...
If we want to be like the Apollo missions, we'll use a lander can.
Yeah. Actually, the Apollo missions use something kind of like this one.
Not for landing.
Was it for...
For re-entry.
That was for re-entry, that's right. Okay, never mind. You guys ever seen that Apollo movie with
Apollo
Tom
13.
Hanks? That's a good movie.
Apollo 13.
Yeah. Did that really happen? That really happened, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Hey, I mean, you
Not
can't
with Tom Hanks, but
Well, not
yes.
with Tom Hanks. That'd be awesome.
Okay, so what we need to do is we need... Okay, so... Let's focus on leaving the moon first, and we'll worry about landing on it. So to leave, we'll need a fuel tank.
Mm-hmm.
Probably liquid fuel.
What other forms of fuel are there?
Well, we have argon, monopropellant, liquid
Monopropellant
fuel,
probably wouldn't be enough.
carbonite, xenon, and lithium.
Xenon. So funny story. So we were driving down the road and I saw this car with xenon lights and I always pronounced it Zenon because I didn't know any better. And he was like, "Wait, what? You mean xenon?" And I was like, "Whatever."
Yeah, so Dominic didn't know how to pronounce xenon.
Hey, I mean, when you're playing GTA, there's no,
Okay.
they don't pronounce it.
So that should be a good fuel tank. Basically, I'm using liquid fuel because argon, lithium, xenon, and monopropellant. Well, excluding monopropellant, those gases are really need gases and lithium really need a lot of energy to burn. But they're very efficient. So for deep space travel, they'd make sense.
Okay.
But since it's a small lander cam, we can't really generate tons of energy to be used. So they're not efficient.
So this form of liquid fuel is more of a quick burst, but that they're quick, where the other ones are more just kind of take your time, but they go forever kind of a thing, or
the difference is, like, if I grab just this xenon tank, about the same size of.
now you have to find it.
That's well.
So I think this one was about the same size, wasn't it?
That's about the same size. If we look at it, so this guy has a bit of argon and xenon gas.
Okay.
But basically, it's just very efficient. It's a very efficient way to do it because you use a lot of just pure energy, electrical charge, which you can get from solar panels or a nuclear reactor to power it, and it's just a much more efficient, even though its thrusters aren't that powerful.
So would it be
Like
efficient?
here's a xenon thruster. Its thrust is only like 1 kilonewton.
Oh,
well,
that's
if we go to a liquid fuel thruster, that's also small, like the atomic rocket motor.
Let's say where's the killer?
It's 13.
Oh!
So this is 13 times in the atmosphere and 60 times as strong
Wow.
in vacuum.
That.
You see, so it's very efficient for long, deep space voyages, but for efficient, actually, we may want to use this guy.
Yeah.
Oh no, we want the. I mean, these are
So would it be beneficial for maybe
much lighter.
to use both so you can like switch off between the fuels depending on the situation?
You could, but we can just use liquid fuel the entire way because.
Well, yeah, it's not that far, right?
Yeah. We could always use my super booster to
Yeah.
get it up there. I'll show you my super booster later. It's a very large and very efficient, well, semi-efficient liquid fuel
Remember that
booster.
plane you made?
Okay, so we have this guy for takeoff and assisted landing. I'm actually gonna do a quick burn test.
Okay.
Because if this is how much fuel we have, I wanna. Well, I could calculate out how long it will take to burn it. I'm just gonna put this on the landing pad and tell it to burn.
Remember that time we made that plane? We made this plane, and and we had this missile in it that we like made it to drop and everything, but it's kind of funny because the plane itself.
So I'm just gonna tell throttle to go full and hit this. So it's going. You can see the slight smoke being out of here.
Oh yeah. Okay.
If I really zoom in, if we right click on it, you can see thrust. It's doing that.
Okay.
So basically,
so why is it so low right now?
What?
Like, why isn't it building much thrust? Like, does it have to charge
it's
up
not,
kind of a thing?
well, no, it's not moving fast because this is a really, really weak thruster. But on the moon, on the Mun, we can use a really weak thruster because the gravity's so much less.
That's true.
Here, it has so much more gravity it has to deal with, and then the atmosphere as well. Like,
it's cool.
If I just kind of rotate it and try and sneak it to fall, I can't. No, it's not strong enough. Yeah, this looks like it's gonna burn a long time because we've only used like a fourth of our liquid fuel. Well, we're not even used the fourth yet, but.
And are we on full power right now?
Now we've used the fourth. Yeah, we're on full power.
Okay.
So this is 1/4 of our total burn time, which will be plenty. So let's just.
So yeah, this is pretty good.
Revert back
cool,
to our vehicle assembly.
How much is this game? Isn't it like $5-10, something like that?
No, it's. I'm not sure.
I know when the Steam sales. There's Christmas coming up. Oh, Black Friday. That's going to be the next one, probably.
If you want to buy it, I recommend you buy it soon because they're going to be doing an expansion pack, and then the price will go up then.
That's true.
This will work for our takeoff and landing.
Okay.
What we now need is we probably need some landing gear. So if we go to ground, we have a few different types of struts. We have these guys. What's the strut?
Probably something like that. Kind of looks more Apollo-y. Yeah.
These landing struts. We also have these ones.
Just something like that. Kind of just
these ones.
I like these ones the best, honestly.
The round ones?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, there goes the mic.
So now I'm going to press X, and we can change how many are on symmetry.
Oh.
So probably 4.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty standard.
Sounds good.
I want to put them about there, so that way...
Yeah.
We want them to be as low as they can go without... Okay, and then when they fold up... Oh, no, so that's what they'll look like retracted.
Okay.
And then they extend to there.
Is it possible, like, mid-flight for them to come off or something like that?
Yes. Well, when you're in the atmosphere, they can burn off.
Oh, okay. Is it likely, though?
It depends how fast we're going.
Oh.
Since there's no atmosphere on the Mun, we don't need to worry about them coming off there.
Mm-hmm.
But on takeoff, we're probably going to even put this in a shield, so
okay.
You don't have to worry.
And then in landing, it doesn't really matter because...
Yeah. Okay, so to get our Kerbals to the lander can, we can either have them launch in the can, which means we have a Kerbal sitting in the can the entire time. It could be like the Apollo missions and build a little connector.
Yeah, you'd have to do a connector. That's the only way to do it.
So also, before we do this, let me just get our other resources we need. So, when it's running, we probably also want a little bit of power with it. Because we don't want it to lose power.
Mm.
So, a good spot.
You probably, like...
No.
No, not that big. Something like that wouldn't be that bad.
Let's just take 2 of these on the sides.
Okay.
We want monopropellant so that way we can rotate. Actually, this thing's size, it should probably rotate well. Probably won't need monopropellant. No, I don't think we will. I don't think we'll need monopropellant for this guy. So, landing, takeoff. Let's go to coupling. Let's get... We'll take this piece here. Flip upside down.
And that's kind of the connector, right?
Yeah, and this is the connector between it.
Okay, cool.
Which means I'm also going to tell you start tracted. Okay. Now, we need to get pods. And here, we'll put him like this. Let's go to heat shield. Because this is going to be our re-entry vehicle.
Okay.
So it needs to be able to survive re-entry.
Mm-hmm.
Now we want to go to utilities. You want to give it some parachutes.
So when we re-entry, are we going to re-entry with this whole thing or just
the
top part?
We're going to ditch the lander can.
Okay.
And then just this top part re-enters.
Oh, okay, cool.
So I'm just going to... We just need 2 of these. Well, I guess Apollo missions had 3.
Okay, cool.
So we have the 3 of those. And now, what I want to do is I want to just tell you auto strut, heaviest part. Okay. Now we want to go to coupling. Now we want a decoupler, a bigger one, like that. Actually, can we find a thinner one, just out of personal preference? Yeah, there we go. Okay.
Oh, okay, cool.
So basically, now we need to build our main movement and transfer vehicle, which will basically just be the fuel tanks onto this guy.
So this is more of like a real life scenario question, but is there a like legitimate reason why most like spacecrafts seem to be white or a light gray? Is that so you can like see them better, or is there like a purpose?
Well, just with the materials, the white or light gray is often, well, you don't want to use black because of heat.
Oh, okay,
because if you have the massive sun with no atmosphere or any protection against it, all of its energy, light energy, UV energy, hitting black, the black will get hot very, very quickly, and then you have to worry about heat. With white, that helps diffuse the heat.
So I always thought it'd be cool to have a yellow spaceship.
And also, a lot of the grays are just because that's kind of the default color of the metal.
Oh, okay.
Alloys. And
what do they usually use? Kind of like steel kind of things, or
mixture, like literally tons of mixtures. Use specialty alloys for different parts.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I honestly don't know much about this. I mean, it's interesting to me, but what's cool about space for me is it's not like a place on Earth where like realistically you could visit it.
For a launch window, I say 2 fuel tanks should be fine. Engines. So now you want to select an engine for this guy that...
Okay, something old school.
It's its transfer window. I believe... Yeah, those are way too small.
What are these ones look like?
I think these are smaller, yeah. Skipper might be a good one.
What about that one?
What, this guy? He is a mass amount of thrust. He'll just eat through propellant.
Oh. Yeah. I was gonna say, that looks exactly like
72 fuel a second compared to this guy. What's this guy? 18.
Oh, yeah, that's a lot less, yeah.
So probably you, because we want our Brents to be strong, but don't need them to be massive.
Too powerful, yeah.
So I'm actually gonna also go right here. Payload. I want a fairing.
What does that do?
Basically, oh boy, let's go back. You go a bit wider. Basically, you know how air resistance on something is really bad. This, when we take off, it's like the top of the space, like the...
Oh, I see, okay.
You see? So we can have the thing in there, and now the air won't catch on it on takeoff.
So this is going to sound really petty, but would you mind bringing it all the way down so it's even?
No. Because the reason why it's here is because I could bring it all the way down. It just makes more sense to not have as much things in the fairing. Because it adds mass.
Oh, yeah.
We go to coupling. I want to grab you again. And now what we want to do is go to our structure. Because if we want our classic design, we'll want that to a bigger. Now, we want to go to fuel. And here's the fuel tanks for the bigger section. So we could just do 2 of these guys, go to engines. Now, so if we were to make this design efficient, then this piece would be gone by the time we when we left Kerbal, and then this guy would be our transfer fuel. But if we have some good boosters, we can be in space and use this guy to help with our transfer. And so if we want this guy just to help get us off the planet, we want to use this engine because it's a very strong, powerful engine that could easily lift everything and get it going fast. But if we want it to be slightly more efficient, we could use the less powerful engine, this guy.
So, for efficiency, so let's say
or we could use smaller ones.
So let's say we did the super powerful one.
Yeah.
Does that make maneuvering more difficult? Because it's...
Neither one will affect maneuvering.
Okay.
So what I'm actually going to do is, good point. I almost forgot about that. Let's go right here to fuel tanks. I want to go... Actually, wrong spot. Nope. Okay, pull you down. I want this RCS tank. Scroll up. Link you up. And another one there.
So what do those do?
That's monopropellant, which means that we can go to command control.
Okay.
And we can put these little RCS
Oh.
rotational control thrusters
Okay,
on.
cool.
That enables us that once we are in space or in a vacuum, these guys can control what's happening much better
Okay.
and control the rocket.
Should you also put that on the landing equipment?
The landing equipment, since it's so small and that pod's there, all the command
okay.
pods have inline reaction wheels with them
Oh.
default, which is basically, imagine a motor spinning a giant hunk of metal, round metal, and you know how every reaction has an opposite equal reaction. For me to spin it clockwise at like 500 RPM, it means that for the massive rest of the thing, we'll spin counterclockwise a bit.
Okay.
So you have a few of those in different angles. And
Okay, that
so you
makes
can
sense.
control.
That's cool.
But with massive masts, it does lesser and lesser returns.
Yeah.
So these just are little thrusters, which this one fires forward and that one fires backwards.
Okay, cool.
I'm gonna take this little MacJeb piece, and that's a mod. It's basically just a flight computer that can allow you to do complex maneuvers a bit easier.
Oh, okay, cool.
I like it because it means I don't have to calculate everything out as much. Okay, so we have this. Now, if we were to launch this right now, we could get this piece into orbit, but we could not get it to the Mun because we just wouldn't have enough fuel. Because this stage would only get us about like 3/4 of the way out of the atmosphere.
Okay.
This guy can make us into a rounded orbit, but then we couldn't have any for maneuvering. So we need some boosters.
Do we also need to put something like wings on or anything?
Wings, so that depends. Wings help with stability, but often, since the easiest thing to do is, and with higher speeds that you go, the more stable you go, because
that's
then your
true.
body acts as a wing. If you rotate this way, if you rotate it slightly, then the air hits this side, knocks it back down, and it keeps you straight.
So it's similar to riding a bike. How the faster you go, the easier it is to control.
Yeah, it's similar to riding a
Okay.
bike.
Cool.
And so the wings are really just useful for the lower speeds.
Okay.
And to keep you stable
so, for
there.
instance, if we weren't using this bottom piece, we're using a less powerful, we might want to put a wing on.
Yeah, and I might still put some wings on, but I'll just put them on the thrusters, so that way
Okay.
once we get fast enough and the thrusters die, we can just drop the thrusters with the wings, and we are carrying less mass further.
Okay, cool.
So now, and I mean, also what I do is, if we take a wing like this, okay, then we have our stabilizing wing. Oh boy, get lined up. Okay, and now I'm just gonna, I'll just try the heaviest part. Okay, so now these would keep it stable, so therefore I can now go to my fuel tanks, and now I could put in my boosters.
Oh,
If you
nice.
want to see what my super booster looks like, sec.
Oh, I will
Here's
be
my
right
big
back.
thruster.
Oh my gosh.
This thing will let us get into orbit.
What would you use this thing
What?
for?
Those, if I was building a massive space station or a colony, I'd be using those
okay.
guys.
Could we colonize the moon?
Yeah.
We should do that next mission. Send another one up. Hey, I'll be right back.
Yeah, I'll build a thruster.
Try not to bore the people.
Okay, so for building the thruster, we can use a large tank or medium tank. I think I'm going to go with the medium tank, like this guy. Oh boy, the lag. Lag's there because of the symmetry, and with the mods, they don't like to play well. Now if I auto-strut to the heaviest part, the auto-strutting just allows the pieces to connect better, and makes it so that way everything doesn't bend and fall apart on launch. So now for engines here, if we use the mainsail, that's a really strong boost. Because what's that? That's, yeah, 1500 and vacuum versus skippers. Okay, so these guys easily provide enough boost to help us, and therefore let's go aerodynamics. Just give them some nose cones, so that way everything's a bit nicer. And then this should be a good rocket. We can go to structure and throw a few mounting plates on, some launch stabilizers. So,
Oh, the sausage is really hot.
we're nearing launch.
Boom! Don't have to yell like you're new.
No, I was just excited.
You're just excited.
I'm going to grab the liner can and slide this down a bit so that way we don't have massive.
So what do all those do?
So basically, these are just supports that hold your rocket up, so that way it's not just sitting on the ground. You don't need them, but it kind of looks cool. So next, what we want is when we cut these supports, we want our engines to kick on for the primary stage. Because right now, let's go through staging. Okay? Now next, we want all of our supports to go. And then once these engines die out, we want to disconnect them and start this main engine. Actually, no, we want to be able to start the main engine, then disconnect these guys. Then, so these guys disconnect. We then cut that piece off. That engine starts. We can remove our fairing. That decouples for re-entry. And then what we want. Okay. We don't want this guy to be active here. Okay, then. Okay. Now we just need a name. So, what do you want to call it?
Well, they were called Apollos, and that's a Greek god. So, name a Greek god. Let's do Hephestas 11. Yeah, how to spell that? I don't know how to say. It's PH. 11 or 1. Let's just do 1, but make it the I, the capital I. Yeah, I think that's right. Badass ship.
Okay.
I figured we might as well call it Hephestas.
One last thing, we need to choose our mission flag.
Let's do like either the rings or let's do NASA, bro. Like,
no. Well, I kind of like the props.
Yeah, I kind of like that too.
Okay. So there's our flag. Okay.
Can we put the flag on the spaceship?
Save. Some of the parts have the flag on them.
Oh, cool.
Like if there it is on the lander can. Okay. Oh. How long should it be? Should that be too long? Okay, yeah, we should be good. I was worried that one of the mods we have is TAC life support, which adds fuel, water, waste that your Kerbals need to survive. So, but the command pods already have some of the things built into them. Mm-hmm. I don't think our mission to the moon will be so long that we'll need multiple. That we'll need to add anything to it. If we go here, you can see all our fuel.
Oh yeah.
We have food, water, oxygen, our waste. Okay.
That'd be funny if they ran out of oxygen.
Okay, what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna open up MacLeod, tell it ascent guidance, show us the nav ball. Oh no, it's flipped. Right. Okay. Oh no, not what I want to do. So I have to zoom in and find you. Oh boy. Come on, I need to right click on. Is that the command pod? Okay, I want to say control from here. Okay, there we go. Okay, so basically we want our orbit. Let's see. What's the mun? I believe the mun is level. Yeah, the mun's level with it. There's no orbit inclination.
What's that?
The beeping is because we have one mod which does random failures, and that warning comes on whenever a random failure occurs. Except there was no random failures here. It's slightly glitched from a previous launch.
Oh.
And something did fail, and yeah, it doesn't work. Edit ascent path. We want this to be a fairly high profile. I like that. Dude. We want it like that. Okay, Okay, I'm gonna say engage autopilot. Now we're not gonna start moving until I activate the first stage.
Okay.
So basically what this will do is you will launch, fly this way, like that, and then once we get, so basically let's launch. Do you want to do the countdown?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Engage thrusters. 4, 3, 2, 1. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Engage thrusters. 4, 3, 2, 1. We are prepared for launch.
Lag. There we go.
Thrusters engaged. We have lift. I repeat, we have lift.
So basically, as you can notice,
Why is it turning?
because that's MacJeb rotating it to line up.
Oh.
Now it stops.
Kind of looks like a penis.
Okay, I'm gonna activate the main engine now.
Do 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 do. Which one wasn't it? Apollo 16 or something like that. That's the one that went up and blew up.
I think it was less than 16.
Was it 14 or something?
I'm not sure.
Is it supposed to be rotating like that?
Yes.
Okay.
What it's starting to do is it's starting to get us rotating, so that way our speed switches to rotation all around the planet.
Oh.
Okay, our first boosters are gonna deploy soon. In 3, 2, 1, off. Deploy. Okay, we're still fine. That was just the wing.
Aldorf Kerman. It's very German.
Yep. So we're rotating.
Do they speak a legitimate language, or is it just kind of gibberish?
No. That's one of the mods. It's called Chatterer. I just realized that we have quite a high altitude. 30,000 will try and get us with the comsats. Because that's what it was lost from. Oh well. What is the altitude of the Mon? Okay, so let's just make this that. So that beeping is still nothing. It's just it being confused. So if we open up our view here, okay, so that stage is done. I'm going to turn off the autopilot now. We disconnect that stage. I'm just going to do that with a little thrust to get us away. Okay, now we want to go to our axis, add a maneuver, and we want to extend it to about the size of where the Mon's orbit is. Okay, now we want to use this guy. Oh, is that an encounter? Yes. So there's an encounter.
What's that mean?
It means that we will go by the Mon. You can see where that kind of purple. So I want to try and get us like. Okay. This is going to be an odd one. But basically, this dotted line is where we're projected to go.
Oh, okay.
This is the Mon, and where it turns purple is that's when we're affected by the Mon's gravity. Okay? And basically what this is saying is we go here, we'll lose it. And then this is saying we'll go and loop, we'll be on an orbit around Kerbal, except that's hitting Kerbal, so that means that will crash. It's going to change once we get to the mun, because we'll add a burn there.
How do we know the mun's going to be there in time?
That's what the flight computer does. Is it still, let me just quickly, we want to aim for the maneuver. We can use RCS. As you can see, it's shooting at those little guys. We could also remove the fairing at this point because there's no more atmosphere to be affected. So now we're aiming for the maneuver. Our node is in 12 minutes. We have an estimated 1 minute of burn. That seems like we can do that. Okay.
Can you kind of like speed it up? Or?
Yeah, I'll warp it. I'm just going to explain it quickly.
Okay.
So basically, this maneuver, once our guy hits here, we do that maneuver, and we'll do it. We'll then add another maneuver about here when we're, here where the periapsis is. And the periapsis is the lowest point in your orbit. And since we're affected by the moon's gravity there, that'll be the closest point to the mun. Which means that we'll put a maneuver there, because at this point the moon will be moved about there.
Okay.
So we'll be close, and we'll do a little burn, which will put us in orbit around it. And then we can go deorbit our little piece.
Sweet.
And then return it.
That sausage is really good.
Okay. So basically, I'm going to stay in map view, because that way when we do the burn, since I'm probably not going to get the burn exactly how the computer says it, this way I will know, I'll be able to see where my trajectory is. So I'm going to start warping time, and you'll notice this is starting to go faster and faster. You can probably go a bit faster. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. So this is estimated burn time is 1 minute, 37 seconds. So I'm going to probably start it at about a minute. So that way it kind of carries me through the node, since it's a longer burn. Get ready for it. 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'm gonna go to 1 time speed. Okay, we want to go a bit, go a bit, go a bit. So I'm starting our burn, and you'll notice here it's starting to move out. It will get faster the longer it burns. Let's open up our fuel so that way we can see. Yeah. So here's hoping that we'll have enough fuel. So at this point, we are in orbit around Kerbal.
So why is this going down?
But that's the amount of delta V I need to do this maneuver.
Oh.
So now this is switching, which means this is the highest point in my orbit. That's the lowest point.
Huh.
So basically, when this is at the bottom, we will be there. Notice the Hephestas is really going to start going fast. So I'm going to need to start slowing down my burn. So that way I can still manage it. As you can see, it's going faster and faster.
Yeah.
That's also something to remember is that... Okay. So, that's now our actual orbit. That looks
nice.
good. So now, how long till we get to there? 2 days. So 2-day transfer window. We may not have enough food and water for that. Oh well. So what I'm going to do is
Okay, you can survive without food for a long time. And
Right
water, just drink your own piss.
What about oxygen?
Oh, yeah, you need that.
So right now what I'm going to do is, I'm adding a maneuver here. What this will do is I want to change you. Okay, that's becoming quite a big burn. Actually I'm going to cancel you. I'll just get there first and we'll do it.
Oh, okay.
basically, let's just go to here, up here. We can watch our stats.
Yep.
Yeah, we look good.
Yeah, we look fine.
Or up here. Bring us out here. So something to remember is, you know how it's getting faster the further we went?
Is your electric charge supposed to be that low?
It will recharge once since there's no solar panels, which I probably should have added. But once I fire the engines, that will recharge it.
Okay.
And since it's manned, I don't have to worry about it running out of charge. If it was a satellite, if it ran out of charge, I'd lose communication with it, and then I can't do anything. But since it's manned, the Kerbals can just turn on the engine to get some more power.
Oh, okay.
Now, up here. So you know how it was getting faster the longer it was going?
Mm-hmm.
That's because for these eccentric orbits, it takes less force here to change what happens out here. But what that also means is that if you were to decouple here, if the orbit was out here, just the force of the little decouple separation could easily throw you a few thousand miles off here.
Oh, wow.
So that's why if you're decoupling, you want to decouple not at your...
So since the moon looks pretty far away still, are we still going to...
It looks pretty far away, but we're not really going fast. Like, if we go to here... Like, here's where we'll be affected by the moon's gravity. So if we just warp here... See, it's getting closer.
Yeah, okay.
We're affected by its gravity now. As you can see,
Oh, cool.
that's our gravity around it. So, I'm adding a maneuver here, which will do that. Now we're in orbit around the moon.
Huh.
Since I want this to be efficient, I want to do as little of a burn and still maintain, well, be about there. So,
Cool.
what that means is now, tell my computer to go there. Again, beeping is nothing.
Why is it turning like that?
But it's changing its position.
Oh.
There's
the moon.
Yeah.
Cool.
So it's getting to that position. And now 1 hour till that burn. So we're going to warp forward. Let's just open up the map and warp there. It's a bit more accurate. Okay. We have a 17-second burn, which will be really quick. But you see how our speed is going there?
No.
And we're going to slow down that way.
Bill Kerman died.
Oh. Air toxicity, didn't he?
What's air toxicity mean?
It means there's too much carbon dioxide because we had no scrubber. Darn it.
Well, you lose some, you win some. I mean,
No, this means we have no control.
at least we still have that German dude.
What?
Aldolfo or whatever.
They both died.
They both died?
Yeah.
Really?
They show up here.
Oh. Are we still gonna land it?
We can't. Well, maybe we can. Okay, I'm not getting the shit. Okay,
Wow.
no.
Wait, can you land it on the moon and then just leave it there and send another one
No, there's
up?
no control.
Oh.
They're all dead. They can't control it.
Oh. So now there's just this thing orbiting the moon.
Not even orbiting the moon. It's gonna fly past and crash back to Kerbal.
Oh.
Do you want to see it try and survive re-entry?
Let's do it.
Okay, so see, we miss it. Now it's gonna...
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
We gotta zoom in for this.
Yep. So I have no control. We're coming in fast. This thing's gonna blow up in the atmosphere. Even with this thing's heat shield, since it's going directly in.
Oh my gosh.
We'll jump to full.
YOLO.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, we might as well try to bring it
It's
back.
now hitting
Oh
atmosphere
my gosh.
at 3,000.
Yeah, it's gonna burn up.
Yep.
Allah Akbar.
Oh, I have... Okay. Yep. And it burnt up. So...
That mission failed. Hephestas 1 was a fail. Time for Hephestas 2. And bring those men home.
Their visor. Do we want to intercept it or destroy it?
No, we gotta intercept. We gotta bring them bodies home.
Space is something.
God, this is bad. Hephestas 3.